Hi, I'm Maggie Reardon with CNET, and I'm back again in the interview chair, interviewing Ross Rubin of the NPD Group.
Long time no see.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, Ross, we were talking earlier about smartphones, and where do we see smartphones now in the U.S. market? What's the penetration like? It seems like everybody I know has one.
We've just seen incredible growth over the past 2 years. According to NPD's mobile phone track, smartphones now account for about 60% of all new handset sales in the United States. We've certainly seen a lot of more inexpensive models come out, which is helping to expand the base. We're seeing a lot of consumers upgrade. We're also seeing a lot of growth in the prepaid segments, and these are among the most price-sensitive consumers in the market. But the handset, the smartphone, is really becoming such a critical component of their lives that they're choosing to invest in it, perhaps at the expense of other products.
So, it's interesting because when I've spoken to Nokia and Microsoft about bringing those phones into the U.S. market and where Windows Phone...
Things like the Asha phone.
Right, and where they're going to play. And I think the demographic that they're targeting are the folks who are new first-time smartphone owners. Are those customers, do they have different needs than the folks we've already seen using Android and iPhone?
Well, there's at least two very good reasons for Nokia and Microsoft to target those customers. First is that if they're new smartphone customers, they don't have the investment in apps or content or even knowing how the phone works the same way an existing iPhone user or Android user would. So they're more of a greenfield customer, and there's no legacy. The second reason is that Microsoft has developed Windows Phone to be a very approachable experience, a very consistent experience across handsets, and eventually one that will see a user interface very similar to what they have on the PC with the next generation of Windows. So that's why the first-time smartphone customer is attractive to them. In addition, in our research, we find more consumers interested in Windows Phone than are actually buying them today. And we're seeing a relatively strong percentage of first-time smartphone customers consider Windows Phone. Now, unfortunately,
that surprises me a little bit.
Well, unfortunately for Microsoft, yeah, it's not really enough to topple Apple or the Android vendors at this point, but it does bode well compared to where they are in the market today.
Well, it's interesting because well, you tell me what you think, but I've had this ongoing debate with some of my colleagues about whether Windows Phone will be successful or not successful. What do you think? I mean, they may not be able to topple Google or Apple, but can they make a run for it?
This is one of those cases where failure is not an option. For Microsoft to remain relevant as a global software powerhouse, it has to be successful in the handset. So we're seeing tremendous investment by Microsoft. The deal with Nokia just shows the extent to which Microsoft is going to go to remain a powerful force in the marketplace. And they are doing an admirable job attracting developers, which is something they're very experienced at. If you look at all the companies that have had to really start over since the iPhone, Microsoft may have been relatively late to start over, but they have probably done the best at this point. When we look at something like the fate of Palm or RIM, which is still rebuilding, Microsoft is making some progress. They obviously need to do a lot better in terms of the share, but the story is starting to come together.
Okay, I mean, do you think CES is going to be like all about Windows Phone and maybe even all about Windows Phone on Nokia?
We may see some announcements there. For the last 2 years, Microsoft has made most of the major Windows Phone announcements at Mobile World Congress in February, which is a global wireless show. So they may hold off for a bit.